A political quake in Turkey as Erdogan's party loses in his home base of support. Now, if I kind of wondered, I had this, I've talked about it before, this crazy dream. What's the possibility of a real worldwide earthquake? And it kind of seemed like none. I started to think, well, metaphorically, I guess you could have a political, social, financial, worldwide earthquake. And this is definitely big if you follow kind of politics and what's going on in this region. Let's see, step by step, over years, President Erdogan of Turkey sought to ensure nobody could challenge him. He marginalized adversaries. He purged the army, the police, and the courts. He cowed the press. He strengthened his powers in the Constitution, and he promised Turks a bright economic future. So it was a huge surprise when the outcome of the weekend municipal voting showed on Monday that Mr. Erdogan's party had not only lost control of Ankara, the political center, but maybe Istanbul, the country's commercial center, his home city and long-standing core of support. Even if the results were not final, they mounted to the most monumentous political earthquake to shake Mr. Erdogan in nearly 2 decades of basically uncontested control at the helm of Turkey, a NATO ally and critical linchpin of stability in the region. What was different this time was the rapidly tanking economy and highly disciplined opposition. It deployed monitors not only to scrutinize the vote tallies, but to literally sleep on sacks of sealed counted ballots to guard against possible tampering by members of Erdogan's ruling Justice and Department Party, the AKP. We think they were not able to rig the election. Vice President of the Istanbul branch of the opposition Republican People's Party, or CHP, who slept on some sacks herself. They were not accepting us to be that organized or that resolved. The results do not mean that Mr. Erdogan, whose term as president lasts for 4 more years, will change his behavior, which includes promoting Islamic religious values over secularism, closer ties to Russia than chillier relations with NATO. But elections showed Mr. Erdogan has weaknesses. It's a catastrophe for him. A senior fellowship at the European Council on Foreign Relations. We now know he is not invincible. Turkey's weakened economy, which had rapidly expanded for years under Mr. Erdogan, was at the top of the voters' concern, despite Mr. Erdogan's exhortation that the problems are not of his making. The country tumbled in a recession in March, which was shortly after he made those comments and showed that video of the atrocious acts that occurred just in a country east of Australia. Unemployment exceeds 10% and up 30% among young people. The Turkish lira lost 28% of its value in 2018 and continues to weaken. Inflation has reached 20%, said she and her colleagues understood within hours of the closing of the polls Sunday night that they were watching Turkey's most momentous change since Mr. Erdogan took power. Even the most remote areas of Istanbul metropolitan area showed a defeat for Mr. Erdogan's mayoral candidate. Okay, so they go on how they're kind of scared about this guy doing something crazy. The whole situation's got to be watched closely because it's a little bit unpredictable situation. You've seen how he was campaigning and how he was talking not too long ago, just a couple weeks ago. So that's it. This is definitely a worldwide political earthquake. It's going to shake up things. If whether or not he's going to get more aggressive internationally or just nationally, who knows? People are absolutely in awe that it happened. And people are not calling him intelligent, not crazy. So this could be a win for democracy. We could actually see something positive come out of this. But they did note that he oversaw severe repression and government purging after a failed 2016 military coup attempt that he blamed on a long-time rival in exile. I'm not going to even say his name. I mean, I feel like I can't see anything anymore. But you guys know who he is. He sounds like a contested area in the Middle East that Israel's talking about. I'm not even sure if I can say that anymore. A cleric who lives in the United States. Mr. Erdogan, Turkey also has been a leading jailer of journalists. Yeah, so it's pretty rough. Okay, if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to leave your comments, leave your comments. But this is definitely a political earthquake. So we're going to see how it plays out in the rest of the world. Thanks for watching. U.S. halts F-35 equipment to Turkey, protests its plans to buy from Russia. The United States has halted delivery of equipment related to the stealthy F-35 aircraft to Turkey, marking the first concrete U.S. step to block delivery of the jet to the NATO ally in light of Ankar's planned purchase of a Russian missile defense system. Pretty busy day for Turkey. Thanks for joining me on The Curve.